All right, welcome everybody to another Cap Tech Live. I'm Dr. Bradford Sims. I'm president of Capital Technology University. And today with us, we have Dr. Haden Land, who's the author of Think Twice. We're going to talk about his new book today, but Dr. Land's had a wide variety of experience. I guess he's been a VP of Lockheed Martin's probably his longest job he's had. And then he's part of Safety to Prosperity, which he helped found that corporation. He's been involved with many universities. He was the former chairman of our Capital Technology Board of Trustees and been engaged in a lot of different things. I consider him a futurist. Many presentations that he's presented around the U.S. as well on many topics that talks about what really our future holds. And this book, I think, goes into that and much more detail. So today, I'm going to let him jump in here. If you'd like to say anything before we kick off the 30 minutes, it'll go by fast for those listening. If you have a comment, drop it into LinkedIn comments and we'll pull it up here. So, Dr. Land, would you like to kick it off?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Sims. The history with Capital Technology University goes many, many years back, and it's important to me. I'm currently an emeritus trustee there, which is exciting, and I'm looking forward to the 100th year anniversary in 2027. So, I'd like to share as much as I can about the book in the next 30 minutes and answer any questions. It was a lot of work to put this together, but I really think it's a valuable asset for professionals. So with that, I'll pass it back to you.
Okay. Well, I have a list of questions here, so we'll see how many we can get through for those listening to our LinkedIn Live. I'm just going to jump into number one. So since you recently published this book, Think Twice, The Lost Half of Human Intelligence and How to Get It Back, it introduces a compelling perspective on intelligence. What inspired you to write it, and what core message do you hope readers will take away?
All right, thanks for that question. Well, my professional and personal life journey has slowed down a bit, from the rhythm that I had while I was really in the thick of it. So I'm in my mid-60s, and I've had time to reflect more on past experiences and lessons learned. And I have always planned on adding authorship to my existing hobbies of golf, chess, fantasy football, DraftKings, exercise. But it was really for my final retirement, which would be a couple of years from now. However, seeing the exponential technological change that we're having and the fast exploding field of AI, artificial intelligence, I was compelled to start writing a couple years early. Now, I believe the vast majority of the book content will help professionals better prepare for this AI era. And I believe for over a generation, we've trained ourselves to think like machines. We optimize, we analyze, we converge on the one right answer. But now the machines do it better than we can. The central executive network is a cluster of regions in the prefrontal cortex in your brain. And when it really activates and kicks in the high gear, when you're focusing, when you're analyzing, when you're deciding, when you're calculating, writing, planning, those sort of activities. But there's a default mode network in a wide network of regions across your brain that activates when you're not focused, when you're resting, when you're daydreaming, when you're meditating, REM sleeping, or taking relaxing walks. The core message in the book is taking that remaining advantage we have of divergent thinking, which we've let go quiet, and bringing that more forward into our daily lives. The book helps the reader optimize their default mode, basically. AI does not have a default mode, and it may never will. The AI era will not reward those who can only compute. It will reward the people who can explore and evaluate at once and know how to switch between the two at will.
Thank you. I'm just going to jump into question 2 here. The Think Twice back cover description indicates the book contains valuable guidance for leadership, decision making, communications, career planning, and many others. Can you quantify how this is accomplished in your writing?
Yeah, certainly. The book content is of considerable breadth and depth. I have my proof copy here. It's 473 pages long. During the final draft, instantly, it was over 550 pages long. So I had to change the format from 8.5 to 5.5 to 9x6, to get it down under 550 pages because I wanted the hard copy. I learned that Amazon only prints on-demand printing for books under 500 pages for hard copy. So enough of that story. Now, the book includes over 100 research references to projects covering neuroscience, human development, psychology, education, leadership, and more. So it's a really interesting read in context of reaching out to other contexts and then bringing them into what I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to make. There are over 40 illustrations in the book, 20 or what I believe very intuitive, that help make concepts more clear with imagery. I have over 30 of my own quotes. Some of the folks who know me will recognize some of those that I've used. They're integrated in there. I have over 30 reflection type questions. And I believe the reader is going to put the book down and think through that reflection, and that will help drive home some of the lessons learned in the training that I'm trying to convey. And, the fun part of it really was there's over 50 professional or personal stories. The book is nonfiction, so there's no fiction in there. It's all true. Now, some other areas that you didn't mention, there's a piece in networking, mentoring, personal branding, presenting, how to adapt to different cultures when you're on international travel, well-being, family, and really the discipline to better navigate an increasing complex world. Lastly, there's a considerable amount of AI context throughout. I talk about many species, and you understand why, as you get into the front matter of the book. Future technologies, and there's actually quite a few jobs that do not exist yet today, but I get into detail on what they may be and describe them.
Well, yeah, the speed of change, right? It just keeps increasing. So with AI, let's talk about looking ahead to 2026 and beyond. What qualities will distinguish truly forward-thinking leaders from those who simply adapt to change?
Yeah, leaders of the past, you got managers and you got leaders. Managers are on top of those, repetition, the worker line, the compute. Leaders are more visionary, etc. I believe that truly forward-thinking leaders will be those that can manage and lead simultaneously. And do that with integrity, courage, dedication, passion, and empathy. By always working hard at creating an environment where excellence is not just an aspiration, but a principle, regardless of the challenges or changes that confront them. Now, a little deeper, effective leaders ask what and why. Trained managers ask how and when. The forward-thinking leaders that you're alluding to will need to be comfortable to ask about all four in the right situation at the right time. Doing this consistently and successfully requires independent previous skills to work interdependently. A manager will more likely use convergent thinking, where a leader will likely utilize divergent thinking. Now, years ago, when I was living in United Kingdom, I just created, refined, and optimized a method, what I called VIPER. And VIPER stands for Vision, Influence, Process, Execution, and Responsibility. Leadership requires that vision and influence, and management requires that process and execution. And the optimal performing executives has the responsibility to do all four in the right situation at the right time. This is how I successfully manage organizations from the smallest of 12 to the largest of 7,500. Now, VIPER and an extended model and how to measure it and track it is in chapter 13 of the book, so I refer you to that.
Artificial intelligence, let's talk a little bit about that. As artificial intelligence continues to transform education and the workplace, how can leaders ensure that uniquely human capabilities remain at the center of innovation and decision making?
Yeah, that's a deep question, a good one. Well, artificial intelligence today is focused on problem solving or convergent thinking. It cannot perform divergent thinking, or does it have imagination? Well, as of yet. Human capabilities can remain at the center of innovation if we think convergently and divergently simultaneously. There are two key properties of any decision, which are the size of the consequences and the reversibility, which that latter one is the one most professionals understand the least about. The combination of these two properties produce four kinds of decisions, and I talk about this in detail in the book. And each one has a correct place. Small consequences, reversible. You can decide those quickly because speed costs nothing. Small consequences and irreversible. Decide carefully because the smallness will not protect you from the permanence of the outcome. Large consequences and reversible. You can experiment because the reversibility either allows you to learn from the result and adjust. Large consequences and irreversible. Slow down. To whatever degree a situation will allow, because this is a category of the decision that defines a career. And rushing it has consequences that would take 4 years. Machines do not consciously hold this map in front of them when their decision arrives. They simply respond at whatever speed the institutional pressure suggests. The discipline of slow is our human advantage, and I dedicate an entire chapter to the discipline of slow. That's probably the most compelling aspects of the writing. But this pause itself takes seconds and sometimes, but the clarity it produces lasts for the duration of the decision. Refer to chapter 10 specifically for a much more detailed explanation.
So with your books, what legacy do you hope your books and thought leadership will leave for educators, business leaders, policymakers, and future generations?
What legacy? Well, for me, success has never been limited to metrics or titles. I've had many. I define success as the ability to apply wisdom and problem solving to challenges while staying true to values. And I talked about some of those values earlier. A person's success over their lifetime really helps define their legacy. And I believe the measure of success is not what you achieve, but much more so about how you accomplish those successes, what people saw you do in those various challenges. I have been fortunate to be honored with multiple honorary doctorates, endowed several scholarships, have emeritus designations, at 2 institutions and numerous international leadership awards. Yet I consider those acknowledgments secondarily to the real impact I hope to leave behind. And it's pretty simple. I want to be remembered for making the world better through both leadership and innovation, as well as through the people I've mentored and supported over my career.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly something that I think we should all strive to achieve in what we're doing. I think since you've been a well-traveled person as well, you've established a global reputation in your areas of expertise. So to what extent do you tap into those international-based stories within the book, Think Twice?
All right, that's a good question. As I mentioned, there's over 50 professional and personal stories that really drive home points and what really is the basis of the book. There's approximately a 65% to 35% split in favor of domestic stories. So 35% are in foreign national scenarios. They include the United Kingdom, France, Israel, Kenya, Uzbekistan, Italy. And I've also been in India, Australia, and Japan for work and stuff like that, but I didn't have the right context for stories from those locations. So roughly 35% of the stories in there are from different cultures, different countries, and you'll see the reasoning for that.
I mean, since we're here at Capital Tech, we're an educational institution, and we try, stay on top of what industry needs as far as degree areas and instructions. One of our goals, Capital Tech, for those who don't know us, we've been around for 99 years. So next year will be our 100th year anniversary here in Laurel, Maryland. And from an educational institutional perspective, in your book, if educational institutions were redesigned today to prepare students for the realities of 2050 rather than 2026, what fundamental changes would you advocate?
Well, that's a long way out there. But in 25 years, we're basically would be in this AI runway for quite a time by then. Now, I believe there'll be a greater need or academic focused need for accelerated innovation skills in several new technology areas. And one aspect of Capital Technology University that always is important to me is always keep that advanced degree program ahead of others. And I don't know how many we have now, but when I was involved at the beginning, we did the cybersecurity and the big data or data science PhDs. Over the past 15 years, there must be 30 plus right now. So that's going to be important. And I also believe a much tighter integration between problem solving and creative thinking curriculums. I think we got to work harder on marrying those capabilities. I also believe that neuroscience research advancements, and I dig in quite considerably into neuroscience in the book, and brain-controlled interfaces will begin to influence classroom activities and project assignments. Some of the more rudimentary communication skills and computing skills will slowly be eliminated from traditional studies and fundamentally replaced by some type of AI enablers that are at people's fingertips. Present day human development has a greater innate knowledge than our species had several thousand years ago. Back then, we just focused on what we needed to do to survive. Present day And much of the present day inherent knowledge that you get basically at birth, fire, water, electricity, gravity, the wheel, many others, this innate knowledge will, I think, grow considerably by 2050. Now, my book discusses this natality, this concept of natality, from a philosophical perspective, and I think it's highly relevant to understand that natality and where that natality will be in 2050. To prepare for the education. Now, education will show signs of shifting focus to areas well above traditional computing and individual skills, because machine will predominantly take much of those over. So I think it's a different plane that we got to prepare for. 25 years from now is going to be like 100 years from 25 years ago. So that's the speed that change is coming. So it's a great question. We'll see if anything I think comes true by then. I won't be around to know, but we'll see.
That's right. Well, you don't never know. The future of med beds is still unseen.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll be part machine, and I'll be around, I guess.
That's true. All right. Well, I got one question left. Let me read this for you. You've indicated plans to author additional books. What themes or challenges do you hope to explore next? And how do they build upon the ideas introduced in Think Twice? Also, did you learn anything useful during the proofing, production, or publication process for your book, Think Twice?
All right. Let me answer the last part first, because that's easier, and that way I can think about the second part a little bit more. So when writing the book, preparing the book, production and printing and all that stuff, it was very, very important to proofread, and also get beta readers from different disciplines. So you have their feedback and their context. In fact, there's a couple people at Capital, students that I tapped in for that. Also, the result of that, to be quite frank, was amazing, because the book is over 100,000 words long, and the final check produced one error. That's 1/1000th of 1% correction rate. So the value of proofreading clearly was important. Also, I learned ISBNs. That's the symbol, on the book right there. You can get those free from Amazon. I was trying to save $1 and use theirs. Then I found out afterwards that you can't do extended publication distribution through other suppliers if you have a free Amazon ISBN. So the second edition, I'll be sure to buy my own. And the last point about the lessons learned, I mentioned the thing about 550 pages. You got to be below that to a hard copy. Well, I wasn't aware. I designed a book cover. That was pretty cool, and you see it on the ebook. But when I got on the publishing tool site, I could import that in, and it worked for the ebook, but I couldn't reuse it for the paperback or the hard copy because different format are required. So that's why when you look, you're going to see my ebook has one cover and my paperback and hard copy have different covers. So always do your covers within the publishing tool, not outside it. All right, I've had more time to think about what I'm going to do next. I do have plans to author more books. As we speak, I have Think Twice being translated in Spanish. I'm pretty connected to the Hispanic community for a number of reasons, and I really want to get this out there in Spanish. I have a fiction book project starting soon. I am co-authoring with a colleague. It will be a well-plotted, intriguing, gripping, tense murder mystery based on a true story. So we'll have heavy use of synonyms, to hide the real identity of the people, location, etc. I'm interested in giving fiction writing a go so I can use my imagination more. Now, Think Twice really showed me the amount of additional work required to author a nonfiction book. There was an extensive amount of research, the need for illustrations, considerable verification and validation necessary. Anyways, the nonfiction book should be published by the end of the year. Um, Additionally, I consider myself pretty savvy and experienced in investing. Two of my current roles, if you look at my LinkedIn, are heavily related to this, and I've given a handful of wealth management seminars over the past 5 years. The investment framework that I've used for years has a lot of supporting material, and I've honed it pretty well, in particular over the last decade. So I plan to package this into a short investment guide. And the last two, I have a fascination with science fiction. Um, so, in the fiction book arena again, I would enjoy authoring a futuristic Earth science fiction with other colonized planets, other solar systems, several thousands in the future of years, several thousand years in the future, where I somehow get transported to that time frame and kind of write about that. That'll be fun. And the last thing, these events, I have some book signings coming up, a few other podcasts, and through that reader feedback, these type of events, book signings, what I like to do is select the top frameworks that created the most discussion, and then create a book or a second edition of this book that really dives in much deeper into the utilization and optimization of those frameworks. So that's sort of what I have in mind, now that I jumped in the authoring bandwagon. It should be fun.
Yeah. You are the hardest working retired person that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years. So it doesn't sound like you're going to stop anytime soon. It'll be interesting, if nothing else, with all these publications rolling out over the next few years.
Yeah, it's definitely a hobby that I always wanted to engage in, and just starting a few years early, and I'll continue into it when I do my real official retirement, which will be probably around the time that you have your 100th anniversary.
Well, it's open to anybody who wants to attend next year, October 9th, 2027 on campus. So obviously those listening, you're welcome to join us. Just a little bit more about Capital Tech, for those who don't know us again. We were founded in 1927 by a Navy vet to teach people how to build radios. And it's been our focus ever since, of career-focused STEM education only here in the DC, Baltimore area. We encourage you to take a look at our website. Our bachelor's programs are mostly on campus, and our doctorate and master's programs are completely online, designed for full-time working individuals, so they don't have to leave their current position. They can continue to be employed full-time while they're advancing their career. And that's what we're here for, is to help you advance in your career or start your career in a STEM related area. As Dr. Land noted, our interest here is looking at what's needed for the marketplace and trying to provide education in that area to stay ahead of the curve. Our recent degrees that are very popular, of course, are artificial intelligence, which you can get everything from a certificate, a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate. And we've just have a couple quantum computing degrees that we release, so that those who want to be more in that curve can jump into that with a certificate or advanced degree. I mean, a whole book I think you could do is what's going to happen when passwords go away here shortly with the quantum. It's it's only a few years away before we decide what do institutions need to be inputting right now and bringing online. You know what type of technology as the passwords get eliminated by quantum technology. It's going to be a unique future for all of us. And I Think Twice is a great book for everyone to pick up. I've got the link here at the bottom of the page on Amazon if you'd like to go there and buy a copy. I believe you can get it either in ebook or hardback right now. And
Or
anything
paperback.
paperback.
Yep. Or hardcover. Yep.
So so it's ready to go for your purchase. And you can go on LinkedIn and send a connection to Dr. Land if you like. Um, I know he has a wealth of membership already, but certainly you can stay in touch with him. And if you connect with him, see when his next books roll out. In that process, they'll be announced through LinkedIn as well. Is there anything else you'd like to end this 30 minutes with? We're right at the time, so we're getting ready to close it down.
Dr. Sims, Brad, I just want to thank you for reaching out to me when you heard that I was going to publish this. I appreciate the time talking to the CapTech community. It's very important to me. And I wish you all the best of luck as we approach the 100th year anniversary.
Thank you very much. And thanks for everybody who listened today. And this will be recorded and uploaded so you can go through YouTube and re-listen to it if you'd like. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Take care.